So, I just ran a marathon as a non-runner, and here's the things that I've learned. If you think this is going to be about sort of running tips and tricks, I'm sorry to disappoint you. This is going to be about mental challenges that I faced and how I overcame them, and how you can apply these techniques and these skills in mental combat or mental warfare with yourself in other areas of life. You don't have to run a marathon yourself. I think running a marathon is a sort of a physical representation of the mental challenges that we face when we do anything hard, really. It could be starting a business, it could be a relationship, it could be study, it could be anything. It's just sort of that battle against yourself and your inner weaker self that's trying to keep you safe and average and not really stick your head above the crowd type of voice. So this is how I overcame it when running the marathon. And just to clarify, I'm not a runner. I train weightlifting and I do combat sports, but I barely run. This year that just passed, in the past 365 days, I've run only 3 times. Then I did the marathon. So I was very ill prepared for it. And to add on top of that, I'm flat-footed. So running is a really big pain for me. So this just goes to show that you don't have to be that prepared. You don't have to spend months and even years in preparation for something difficult in your life. You just need to have the courage and the mental toughness to do it. And as I said, this goes for anything. It's not even about running anymore. It's more about just doing anything difficult in your life. And if you want to be someone in this world, you have to be able to do difficult things. Starting your own business, completing a difficult university and getting that degree. The first lesson I learned is that you shouldn't enter a dialogue with your weaker self. Basically, doing anything hard is a matter of haggling or sort of being in a negotiation with your weaker self. And the best way to win that negotiation is not to participate in it at all. It may sound strange, but you should pay attention to your inner voice, very careful attention. Anytime you're doing something difficult during your workout, it could be during a study session, a working session, and that voice is going to be there telling you to take a break or to take it easy. That voice may be not even coming from your own head, it may be coming from someone else. It could be a friend that's being jealous of you, it could be a partner. The best way to win those types of negotiations is to just not enter them at all. If it's coming from your own head, for example, during the marathon, I had that voice non-stop telling me, you're gonna hurt yourself. You're gonna do something bad to your body and it's gonna hurt really bad. And it's not worth it. That's the typical thing that weak voice says. It's not worth it. Why would you even do it? And if you get into a negotiation with it and try to put in the argument that it's actually worth it and that you'll be okay, that voice is the devil, and it's really cunning and it's really devious, and it will probably get the better of you 90% of the time. So you shouldn't even speak to it at all. And that's what it also says in the Bible. When the devil comes to talk to you, you shouldn't try to out-devil him, because he's smarter than us. So you should just ignore him and tell him, Satan, get behind me. I'm focused on something else. And that's what you should do to your weaker voice. You tell it, get behind me, I'm doing something else. You ignore it and you focus on, you can play some music or you can play a podcast. That's what I did. Just put your attention on something else and numb or lower the volume on that weaker voice. The second thing I learned is that 99% of the things in this life are about mental resilience and just mental toughness and courage. But still, there's 1% that is actual preparation. Because during the marathon, especially towards the end, I had the mental toughness, I had the courage to finish it, but my body just started giving out. I think I ran out of sugar in my blood and I started blacking out, and I felt a tingling sensation all over my body. And every time I tried to pick up the pace again, because I was walking or barely walking, I was stumbling to the finish line and I still had 1 or 2 kilometers left to go. Anytime I tried to pick up the pace, because my mind and my heart were ready to fight, but my body was giving out. And that's where the actual preparation comes in. So that could be, for example, starting a business for you. Yes, you can have all the mental toughness and all the courage and all the energy in your heart and mind to go on, but if you don't have the right preparation, if you don't have the right knowledge, the right connections, the right resources, you'll never be able to pull it through. The good news is that only makes about 1% of the actual things you need to achieve anything in your life. But you must make sure that you have it. Because in my case, I barely had it. My body was giving out. I had to sit down multiple times to take my breath, take a rest and catch up my breath. Because I really felt like I was going to die, or maybe not die, but at least faint and fall, because I almost blacked out a few times. So in anything hard that you do, it could be in your study, in anything that you do in your life that is difficult, you must make sure that you are at the very least somewhat prepared. Don't rush in blindly, but don't try to be over prepared, because over preparation will make you miss the opportunity, or you're gonna wait so much that life will get in the way and your priorities will change and you'll never achieve that goal. So it's about 99% courage and mental resilience and the desire to do it, and 1% preparation. And what the next lesson is about, what actually pulled me through a difficult moment, is friends. I was really close to the finish line, but I just didn't have the energy. I was barely able to move, even my hands. When I tried to raise my hand, I felt the pulse of my heart on my wrist here, and it felt like it would explode or that I would burst some blood vessels, and I got scared. But my friends were there waiting for me. One of them, even who finished the race before me, started going back to search for me, and he came for me and he prayed for me. He asked God to help me in this difficult moment. Then we continued together, and there was my girlfriend waiting for me before the finish line and another friend, and they just surrounded me and they pushed me to the end. It was this really nice, sweet, loving moment of compassion and of support. And I think that's the most important lesson I learned, because I'm a sort of a lone wolf type of guy. I like to do things by myself because I feel like I'm competent enough, and I feel like that trying to work with other people is just a waste of time, as I can do things quicker myself. And if you're that type of guy, then I assure you, you won't be able to do it yourself. You need people that you can trust and that trust you and that you can count on in these moments. And I think that's what actually pulled me through the marathon, is not my mental resilience, not my strength or any type of physical mental attribute. It's actually my friends. Because if they weren't there, I think I probably would have fainted kilometer before the finish line, in the rain and the cold, and I have gotten sick, and I probably wouldn't be shooting this video right now. It could be in a hospital. But my friends helped me. But you need to be, in order to get this type of friends, do these things for you and support you and help you in these situations that you're gonna face for sure in your life, you also need to be there for them in these situations that they have in their lives. So if you have a friend that's in a tough situation in your life, you should be more than willing to help him without any sort of reparation from him. Because one day or another, you're gonna be stuck in a really shitty situation yourself, and then that friend may come and may just help you pull through. That's what happened for me. I've helped these people sometimes in the past, and now they've helped me. And this is, I think, also the Christian message. I'm Christian, and I felt the source or the essence of Christianity in that moment, I think, where you help people without asking for anything in return, and then they help you without asking for anything in return. And that just makes the world a better place. And that way, whenever someone is in a shitty situation, he gets help. So that's the third lesson. Be a good friend and support the people close to you, and even not those close to you. If you see a random stranger, and random act of kindness, I think, will always be repaid in unforeseen ways, because God works in mysterious ways. And the wheels of karma and the wheels of God are slow, but they are unrelenting and are always sure to spin and to give you back exactly what you deserve. It could be months, it could be years, it could be in ways that you could have never foreseen. You could have never foreseen it. That's the third lesson. The fourth lesson is that you just need to be a G. That's what also pulled me through the majority of the marathon. Just be a G. It rained, there was wind because the marathon was next to the sea line, and there was wind coming from the sea that could, if you were a little bit lighter, it could literally just blow you back. And it was really difficult running against it because it was a marathon, like I said, on the sea line, and the wind was always coming from the side, always pushing you. And there were waves splashing, and it was salty water being sprayed into your eyes from these waves. And it was really, really cold, and it was really, really difficult, and my feet hurt, and my liver hurt, and my lungs hurt, but I pulled through it because I'm a G. What else could I do? Give up? That's gay. My leg literally started bleeding as I ran the marathon, because as I said earlier in the video, I'm flat-footed. So where most people have a dent in their foot, so it's a little bit curved like this, I just have it flat. And that part, because of all the friction with the shoe that I was wearing, even though it was a really nice shoe, it was a Nike, there was a lot of friction, so it started bleeding, and I could just feel it, that my foot was getting wet by my blood that I was releasing. My sock was red. The entirety of the bottom part of my sock was red after the marathon, and it hurt like hell. It was really shitty, and you know what I did? I just took these laces from my shoes and I tied them really, really, really hard around the hurt ankle, and just tried to make it as hard and as tight as possible. And what that did was sort of numb the nerves in my right foot. So for the entire second half, that happened at the half point of the marathon, and the entire second half of it, which was more than an hour of pain, my foot was completely numb, and I didn't feel it at all. But that's what it required for me to finish the marathon. That's what was required, because if I continued to feel the pain, I think I would have given up. So sometimes you can just make yourself numb to the pain. You can just cut off the weak limb. And I was cold, and I was burning, and I had salty water in my eyes, and could barely breathe, but I pulled through because I'm a G. So that's, I think, the final lesson for you to take out. We live in a generation of pussies. Most men are weak physically and mentally. That doesn't have to be the case. You can be a G. You can just thug your way through it. Just be a tough guy. Doesn't matter that much. And I'm making running this marathon be this grand thing because it was, for me, it was really difficult, and I'm proud that I did it. But when you look at the historical context of the world, it's not a big thing. Men used to run for even more miles every single day when they had to hunt antelopes in the savannah when we were still evolving, or they had to run with gear on, with armor and swords and spears and shields when in the ancient or medieval times where they were fighting wars, and they would have to traverse even longer distances. So in the larger historical context of the world, this is not a big thing, running a marathon. But in today's world, it kind of is. If you're a runner and this is not a big thing to you, then congrats. I think running is kind of gay, to be honest. I think fighting is better, because when something happens, you have two options. Running and fighting, that's your reflex in your brain. You know, your flight or fight reflex. I think fighting is what men should do, and running is a bit gay. The only reason that I ran is because I wanted to test myself on something difficult that I haven't previously done. And that's why I only ran like 3 times this year, because I didn't want to run more, because I think it's gay. If you're a runner, you don't think a marathon is a big deal, you're gay. But if you aren't a runner and you've never run a marathon, just know that you can do it, and you can do anything in your life if you just believe in it. For me, this was a test to see if I can really do anything I want if I put my mind to it, and I proved myself correct. For you, it could be something else. But please, after this video ends, don't scroll on to the next one. I want you to decide in this next coming year, what hard thing are you gonna do? It could be running a marathon. It could be competing in weightlifting or powerlifting. It could be a boxing match. It could be starting a business. It could be completing a really difficult university course and getting a degree. Whatever else it is, do something difficult this year that will prove to you who you really are. And if you fail, then you're a pussy.